There's so much fury about the jokes Michelle Wolf made on stage last night. Do you, as the head of the association, have any regrets this morning?
Brian, I'll tell you this. First of all, it was a great honor to be able to preside over last night's dinner and to represent all the journalists who cover the White House. And we were really appreciative to have so many administration officials in the audience, including Sarah Sanders at the head table last night. My aim and the way I sought to put together the program was to build a spirit of unity in that room, to rally around journalism and why it's important. And I worked really hard to do that with my own speech and with the selection of guests who sang, and the woman to my side, an Egyptian-American woman who was rescued by President Trump and is an advocate for press freedom. My only regret is that, to some extent, those 15 minutes are now defining 4 hours of what was a really wonderful and unifying night. And I don't want the cause of unity to be undercut.
You're saying a celebration of the First Amendment was overshadowed by Wolf's raunchy jokes.
Well, I mean, to some extent. And look, the comedian, when the entertainer is a comedian, and as has been the case for most of the last 30 years or so, they are often controversial. They are often, you know, to some extent polarizing or at least provocative.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a night about free speech. So by tradition, we do not vet their monologue. We don't censor it. We don't even see it. In fact,
so you don't see the jokes beforehand. That's interesting.
I did sneak down to the rehearsal and walkthrough just in case, but she wouldn't give anything up. So,
do you think she crossed a line?
I think that she brought to the night what she thought was important to say, and that her goal may not have been press unity and everyone rallying around the room to support journalism. But look, I invited her, and I invited her because I thought that she's a talented comedian who had a message to deliver, and she did deliver a message. I delivered a message too. Yeah. My message is the one that I hope represents the press corps and certainly represents me. It was about my own personal experiences, my family experiences, why I believe that journalism is so important.
Tell me about choosing her, though. Why select her this year?
Look, I mean, she's a comedian on the rise, and she's a woman, and 2017, 2018, 2016, these were all important years for women. I thought she was provocative and had a message to deliver, and she did deliver it.
I think she views the Trump presidency as a crisis, as an emergency, and she was trying to speak truth to power, but she was criticized for some of these personal comments about Sarah Sanders. Let's watch, keeping in mind the press secretary is sitting just a few feet away.
I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies. It's probably lies. And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You know, is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? Like, what's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women? Oh, I know, Aunt Coulter.
A lot of the criticism of Wolf has been about personal attacks against Sanders, people saying she was criticizing Sanders' personal appearance. Wolf responded overnight on Twitter, said, I was actually trying to talk about her behavior, her behavior as White House press secretary. But keeping in mind that, you know, I saw you walked over to Sanders right after the roast. Can you tell us about the conversation?
I told her that I knew that this was a big decision, whether or not to attend the dinner and whether to sit at the head table, and that I really appreciated her being there. I thought it sent an important message about the role of government and the press being able to communicate with one another and work together, and that I appreciated her being there.
Is there less of a chance she'll attend next year because of this?
I don't know, and I hope not. Again, Michelle Wolf is a comedian. She speaks for herself, and that is her right to do that under the free speech and the First Amendment, which we were celebrating.
But you don't think having her there seems like an endorsement by the press corps?
I think the comedian reflects on the press corps, but I don't think that the comedian speaks for the press corps. The press corps speaks for itself. I'm the president of the White House Correspondents Association, and in my message last night, I sought to explain to everyone that journalists are Americans from all walks of life. We come from different partisan backgrounds. We come from different parts of the country. We care about America, and we care about truth and fairness and freedom and news. That is the message that I want everyone to take away, and I hope it is the message people do take away.
But in this tense time, the presidency has obviously changed, the world has changed, and it seems like you're trying to put on the same event. The new president every year, we should be clear, it's a rotating job. You're the president of the association for a couple more months. But shouldn't the event change as the world changes? Maybe there shouldn't be comedians anymore.
Well, I think that's an interesting debate. I mean, it's definitely one that we should have and keep having, because the night is one to reflect what our members want to convey, the message our members want to convey. Olivier Knox, who's the vice president now and will take over for me in July, is going to have his own dinner to put together, and he's a very smart guy, very sensitive guy, and I know he'll be thinking about all of those issues. But for us, I think there is value in entertainment and in comedy. There's also value in serious public policy discussions and in having the kind of mix of people that we had in that room last night, and it's vital that we can all get together and sit together and eat and talk about the issues in the First Amendment and the free press.
I mentioned to Sanders before the dinner, I was glad she was there as well. I think it's valuable for the White House to be represented at the dinner. But now, in the aftermath of Michelle Wolf's, what do we call it, stand-up act, there's a calls for apologies. We've heard from Fox's Ed Henry, a past president of the association, NBC's Andrea Mitchell a few minutes ago, saying that the association should apologize to Sanders. Will there be an apology?
What I told you is what I have already told Sarah Sanders, that I speak for myself in the association, and that my interest is in the spirit of unity and in the spirit of serious journalism. You
know, Andrea Mitchell in her tweet, she said, what started with an uplifting, heartfelt speech by you that ended with Michelle Wolf, she's saying the comedian was the worst since I misinsulted Clinton. Are you concerned that, that some people are being too sensitive about this?
No, it was a 4-hour program, and there was a comedian, and there were a lot of other parts to it also. And I hope that everyone can remember that comedy is meant to be provocative, and it doesn't always hit the mark, and sometimes it hits the mark for some people and not for other people. But again, my interest overwhelmingly was in unifying the country, and I understand that we may have fallen a little bit short on that goal. I hope everyone will allow us to continue to keep working toward that goal. Look, comedy is meant to provoke thought and debate, and it certainly has done that. But journalism also is meant to bring people together around common understandings. And I'm concerned that people not take away the wrong message from this.